Going to start off with Britain's Independent, a very alarming front page on Ebola.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the front page of the Independent. They talk about 60 days to save West Africa. Now, this is because the British Disasters Emergency Committee has warned that West Africa is 60 days away from a humanitarian catastrophe. And so the DEC, this is an umbrella group representing 13 organizations, including Oxfam, Save the Children, etc. Well, they've launched an unprecedented appeal to raise money to fight Ebola. The Independent is also reporting from West Africa, where it's a race against time to track down people who have been who come into contact with the virus. This article reports from a slum in Monrovia, where contact tracers actually try to track down these people who've been in contact with the virus. It's easier said than done, though, says the Independent, because in this slum, a lot of people are afraid of being put in quarantine.
Yeah, it's detective work, isn't it? Ebola also front page news in China.
Absolutely, for very different reasons. Let's take a look at the front page of China Daily. You can see here a photo of a factory where workers are working around the clock to, well, help fight Ebola by making these special suits that health workers wear. This is actually a factory called the Lakeland Industries Factory in the Shandong province. The general manager, to quote him, he says, "We've seen a huge jump in orders and decided to add night shifts to meet the rapidly rising demand." This is a very lucrative opportunity, it must be said, for this factory, which is making 6,000 protective suits a day, and these suits can cost up to $160 per suit. So it's kind of the flip side of the very tragic Ebola story.
Absolutely, an absolutely priceless kit on the ground as well, those suits. So we're going to move on to the UK. The Home Office is in the spotlight. It's decided to end Britain's support for search and rescue operations in the Mediterranean. This is picking up migrants.
Absolutely. It's getting a lot of attention in the British press. They're focusing on comments that the Foreign Office Minister, Baroness Annalay, said earlier this month. She said that Britain would not be supporting future search and rescue operations. She went even further, saying that these kind of operations are a pull factor for illegal immigration because they encourage refugees to take risks at sea. Very controversial comments you can read about here in The Guardian. Why are we talking about these comments now, though? It's because a search and rescue operation called Mare Nostrum that was set up by the Italian Navy in the wake of the 2013 Lampedusa disaster, that search and rescue operation is going to wind down in the coming days. It's been very effective, though. It saved more than 140,000 migrants who were lost at sea. It's going to be replaced by a European operation called Triton, but this operation is going to have a very smaller budget, 1/3 the size of Mare Nostrum, and no help from Britain.
So what kind of reaction is all of this getting?
Well, there's been quite a lot of outrage in the British press, as you can imagine. I pulled out one opinion piece from The Guardian by Ian Burrell. He says that Britain's refusal to save migrants is an act of inhumanity. And he says it's terribly ironic that this comes at a time when British governments, well, they've been making, they've been saying that they're going to help the world with humanitarian military interventions. And here they're not helping people in the Mediterranean. There's also a cartoon in The Guardian that's critical not only of Britain, but of Europe in general. You can see this very fortress Europe here. Keep out. And you can see some bodies, actually dead bodies there floating around. The caption there says, "The barbarians at the gate, they'll be inside."
Very effective cartoon. Just time for a short word on Pope Francis.
That's right, Pope Francis. He's making headlines. Why? Let's take a look at the Daily Beast. Even the Pope isn't a hardcore creationist. On Monday, he was talking to scientists, and I'll quote him. He said, "When we read about creation in Genesis, we run the risk of imagining God was a magician with a magic wand able to do everything." He said that's not so. The Pope says that evolution and the Big Bang aren't incompatible with a creator, but Slate tells us this actually isn't so new or revolutionary for the Catholic Church, but it is very different from his predecessor, Benedict XVI.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for that. Flo Villamino there with a look through the international papers for us. Coming up after the break are all of our top stories here on France 24, plus in our special focus report, we're looking closer at Yemen. It's the poorest country on the Arabian Peninsula and traversing violent new political turbulence.